All right, so let's talk 2024 realtor challenges. What
Yes.
are you seeing as some of the biggest challenges that agents are facing, and what are you doing to shift and overcome these challenges?
Yeah, so I think that when rates were low, I don't think it was easy, but I think it was easier because there was so many more buyers entering the market. You know what I mean? And so I think that anyone that was just being a buyer's agent is going to struggle in this kind of a market because he or she who has the listings, they're winning,
Makes
and
rules,
so
right?
yeah, exactly. And so I do think that inventory is so low still, and so we're that's a problem. But there was a small dip in rates in October, and I definitely saw an uptick in my buyers just saying, okay, you know what, it's time to just get off the shelf and get it back in the game.
I always kind of equated like the interest rate thing as kind of like gas prices, right? As soon as they went through the roof, it's kind of like everybody's bitching and moaning.
Right.
But then after, a few months go by, you get used to it. And then it's just like, all right, well, you need to put gas in your car, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, yeah, the interest rates stink, but like, you want to buy a house or not?
Yeah.
Right? This is kind of where you're at. And I think one of the things that I'm hearing from a lot of agents is now there's always going to be the agents that tell you like, oh, it's always the great time to buy a house and everything.
Sure.
That's their job. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think when you put it in the right perspective and you actually lay it out for a buyer or a seller, depending on their situation, I think you can say that it can be the right move for you.
Yeah.
It depends on, you got to look at like, what are you actually looking to accomplish
Right.
for yourself?
Right.
But I think, everybody's always saying that real estate is never a bad investment. I mean, you can buy a bad deal.
Sure.
But I think if you have the right individual, being your advisor and guiding you on the way, I think there's a lot of smart moves to be made.
And it's funny because what I've come to find is you're never going to say like, hey, I can show you all these numbers on a spreadsheet on why it's a good idea. Like people are just going to buy. Like buyers don't have to buy.
Sure.
They don't. You know what I mean? They can just stay renting. However, what you can do to a renter that's paying $2,000 a month, you can say, hey, okay, you're not willing to overpay $24,000 for a house, because sometimes that's what it takes in this kind of a market.
Sure.
Is like willingly overpaying that. But you are willing to pay $24,000 in rent for a year and pay someone else's asset down, when if you took that $24,000, put it into your own pocket, because that's what it's really doing, at the end of the day. And I think there's, so what I've been trying to do is get in tandem with some of my clients, their accountants or just a financial advisor. I'm like, hey, don't take it from me. I don't give financial advice. I'm a real estate agent. You know what I mean? But if you want to know how good of an investment this is, talk to your advisor, talk to your father or your mother and who else that, would be able to advise you in that way. And so I think that that's important to understand too, that, you're putting money back into your own pocket when you own real estate.